Okay, we have come to our third module, the third week of lesson, and we have come to the end of project management. So today I will share with you what I plan for the whole week. So there will be mixture of synchronous and asynchronous uh, lesson, meaning that only today I will have live class. So for tomorrow and Wednesday, there's no live class. It's just simply a reading class. You can read the tutorial that no, not tutorial, the PowerPoint that I've shared with you. Okay. Mm, right. So I will share with you the screen right now. My screen. And we will go to okay. So we have teaching plan again, the same thing repeated again. Um, I will cover this part of this part of the module, and module 1, module 2, and module 3. Okay, module 1 has been covered by Dr. Muzaffar, module 2 by Dr. Hazwani, and lastly by me. So we will talk a bit about budgeting, cost estimation, project auditing, and project termination. So only budgeting I will have live class. The project auditing and termination, please refer your uh, lecture notes that I've shared with you. Okay, I have lecture notes here shared. You can read on your own. Okay, and as well, I have shared with you the video lecture. Okay, here, 1, 2, 3. So if you want to look back at the videos, you can only refer back. Okay. And then there will be assignment 2 and 3 combined together. Because why we combine it? Because it includes monitoring and assign, 13 assign. Right. So this is your assignment 2 and 3 combined together. It covers everything on budgeting, costing, and monitoring. How we plan for budgeting and costing, and how we use these tools and the project management tool to monitor the progress of your project management. Okay. So this is the assignment 2. I have prepared you in the assignment. Okay, why is it coming up? Okay, the YouTube link that explain your assignment 2 and 3 here. I have prepared here. You can refer to. Okay, it is there. So all the details, okay, will be in this video for you to understand how to do it. Okay, it's really structured. And for your information, this is a continuation of your assignment number 1 given by Dr. Azwani. So we have a portion that we call it as risk analysis, which is the risk response planning. So whatever you have in your risk response planning, I want you to put it back in your assignment and how you want to work for your risk response planning. Okay, if you look at this, I have a template that you have to follow. Okay, I have a template for you to follow. Okay, we have scope of work, work breakdown structure, OBS, key task list, project network, Gantt chart, resource dictionary, task list with resources, cost account and cost dictionary, task list with cost, project budget table, and critical path network. Yeah, I asked a lot of things, okay? But I give you example how to do it. This is an example of scope of work, okay? In your risk response planning, of course, you have some scope of work, isn't it? Right? So you have your project goals, your objectives, your works, limitation, deliverables, stakeholders, standards, milestone assumptions, right? And we move on to work breakdown structure. How are we going to take action with what we have planned in your risk response planning? And we systematically write down the activities and further break it down into lower hierarchies. And over here, you can see I can further break it down into 3 levels of um, hierarchies, okay, so that we can go to the elemental activity. And now we have OBS. OBS is basically the people you are assigned to do these activity. There must be some people that is accountable to complete the risk response planning, the key task list, the project network. All this you can get from Gantt chart using Microsoft Project. Okay, and then I want you to produce short-term and long-term planning. So I would love to see two Gantt charts. Okay, and then resource dictionary, task list with resources, cost account, and task list with cost. From these, we can get the direct cost, direct equipment cost, indirect cost, and hence we get the project cost. Lastly, I want you to come up with critical path of the project network. So what is critical path? Is the longest path network that determines total time required to complete the project. The path that takes the longest time to complete your project. Okay, if you want more details, please refer to my video over here. So as for today, okay, I will talk about budgeting and costing. Okay, so I'll go on with the slide. Yeah. Right, hang on a minute. I need to share this link with a colleague of yours. If not, he or she will miss the class. Right, okay. So what is budget and cost estimation? Okay. Budget is something that serves as a standard for comparison. Okay. You always want a budget so that you know where to set your foot when you want to start your project. Meaning that you want to know the financial standing of your progress. Okay. So this is the baseline from which to measure the difference between the actual and planned use of resources. Okay, budget doesn't only involve figures, but it is a baseline that we can use to measure the difference between the actual and planned use of resources. So how far are you away from your actual plan? Okay, so budget procedures must associate with resource use with the achievement of organizational goals, and the budget is simply the project plan in another form. So there are orders to develop a budget. Okay, first we have a forecast that what resources of the project is required. Okay, we need to determine the required quantity of each. We need to decide when they will be needed, and we need to understand how much they will cost, including the effects of potential price inflation. So there are two fundamentally different strategies for data gathering. So these data are needed for you to be able to come with a budgetary. So the first method is top down. The second method is bottom up. So what is top down? So top down is something that is related to organizational structure. Okay. So why you call it top down is basically we have a structure like this in any organization, the top management, the middle management, and the bottom management. So the top down actually represents a budget from the top level going downwards, right? Okay, this strategy is based on collecting the judgment and experiences of top and middle managers. So it's based on judgment, okay, based on estimation and experiences. So these cost estimates are then given to lower level managers who are expected to continue the breakdown into budget estimates. So this process continues to the lowest level over here. So the advantages of top-down budgeting: the aggregate budgets can be often be developed quite accurately. Okay, the budgets are stable as a percent of total allocation. The statistical distribution is also stable, making for high predictability. Small yet costly tasks do not need to be individually identified, and the experience and judgment of the executive accounts for small but important tasks to be factored into the overall estimate. So now we move on to bottom-up budgeting. So bottom-up budgeting is basically, again, we talk about the same thing, same organizational pyramid, but now the budget comes from the bottom to the top level, okay, your middle class. So in this method, the elemental task, okay, the elemental sits at the lowest level, okay. The schedules in their individual budgets are constructed following the WBS or Project Action Plan. So the people doing the work are consulted regarding times and budgets for the task to ensure the best level of accuracy. Initially, estimates are made of resources such as labor hours and materials. Bottom-up budgets should be and usually are more accurate in the detailed tasks, but it is critical that all elements are included. Okay, so this is the philosophy of the bottom-up budgeting. They want to include everything else. They want to They want to include everything as much as possible so that nothing is overlooked. Okay, when they're doing the budgetary. However, okay, now we talk about advantages first. Okay, the advantages of bottom-up budgeting: individual closer to the work are apt to have more accurate idea of resource requirements, right? The direct involvement of low-level managers in budget preparation increases the likelihood that they will accept the result with a minimum of aversion. They, meaning to say, if involve the lower management, they will accept it more positively as compared to the top-down budgetary. So the involvement is a good managerial training technique, giving junior managers valuable experience. Okay, top-down budgeting is common. The true bottom-up budgets are rare. Why? Okay, this is why there's something that you need to understand why it is rare. Senior managers see the bottom-up process as risky. They tend not to be particularly trusting of the ambitious subordinates who they fear may overstate resource requirements, and they are reluctant to hand over control to subordinates whose experience and motives are questionable. So work element costing. There's a third type of costing that we would like to add on other than top down and bottom up. We have work element costing. So in work element costing philosophy, the actual process of building a budget, either top down or bottom up, tends to be straightforward but tedious process. Hence, work element in the action plan or WBS is evaluated for its resource requirements and then the cost. Direct costs of resources and machinery are charged directly to the project. Labor is usually subject to overhead charges. Material resources and machinery may or may not be subject to overhead. There is also a general and administrative charge. So iterative budgeting process is where the resource estimates and actual requirements are rarely the same for several reasons. The farther one moves up the organizational chart, the easier, faster, and cheaper the job looks. Wishful thinking leads the superior to underestimate cost and time because the superior has a stake in representing the project as a profitable venture. So, budgeting and costing is an important tool that you can use in your career life as well as your studies. So, iterative budgeting, continuation, is usually the initial step toward reducing the difference between the superiors and the subordinates estimates that is made by the superior. The superior agrees to be educated by the subordinate in the realities of the job. Subordinate is encouraged by the superior positive response and then surrender some of the protection of the budgetary slot. And this is a time-consuming process, especially when the project manager is negotiating with several subordinates. So another category of activity budgeting versus program budgeting. The traditional organization budget is either category oriented or activity oriented. So I'm not sure whether what is much more accurate, but I have a better feeling to use the activity oriented rather than the category oriented budgetary. So often based upon historical data accumulated through an accounting system. With the advent of project organizations, it became necessary to organize the budget in ways that conform more closely to the actual pattern of fiscal responsibility. Under traditional budgeting methods, the budget could be split up among many different organizational units. These diffused control so widely that it was almost non-existent. This problem gave rise to program budgeting, which alters the budgeting process so that budget can be associated with the projects that use them. Okay, now we have a case example for you to read and understand, and how the project manager, the project management has been able to complete a 4-year project for 3 years. They complete it in 3 years' time. So okay, you can read and understand and how they actually handle this activity in line with nuclear facilities better. Okay, sorry about that. So what is program budgeting? Program budgeting aggregates income and expenditure across programs. Okay, is aggregation by program is in addition to, not instead of, aggregation by organizational unit. These budgets are usually take the form of a spreadsheet with standard categories, disaggregated into regular operations and charges to the various projects. This is an example of program budgeting. Okay. You can see that every month there's a budget that needs to be monitored. Okay. With a task over here. Right. For me, there's no one true best method. However, it's all depends on the management, how the project is handled, and about the accounting system in the company, how they work with the budgetary and cost estimation. Okay, so it's good for us to know there's so many forms of budgeting and cost estimation. So improving the process in cost estimation, there are two fundamentally different ways to manage risk associated with the chance events that occur on every project. The most common is to make an allowance for contingencies, usually 5 to 10%. Another is that when the forecaster selects most likely optimistic and pessimistic estimates. So we have, well, it's either you put in allowance in your budget or you make forecast most likely or optimistic or pessimistic estimates in your budgetary. Funding a non-profitable project. If you have a non-profitable project, there are several reasons that firms would choose to fund a project that is non-profitable. For example, R&D, yeah, is to develop knowledge of a technology, is to get organizations foot in the door, okay, to obtain the parts or service portion of the work, to be in a good position for a follow-on contract, to improve a competitive position, and to broaden the product line or line of business. So learning curves. Studies have shown that human performance usually improves when task is repeated. Okay. Over time, okay, performance improves by a fixed percent at each time production doubles. So more specifically, each time the output doubles, the work hours per unit decrease to a fixed percentage of their previous value. So that percentage is called the learning rate. Okay. A project manager should take the learning curve into account for any task where labor is significant. Okay. Probably in the beginning of a project, it would cost you more because the learning curve is longer. But as time progresses, or probably the second repetition of the project, same scope, okay, same project, job scope, everything else, probably they could complete it much faster because of the learning rate. There are two types of estimation error. Okay. First error is random error, where they overestimates and underestimates are likely to be equal. Also, we have a bias error, where it is a systematic error, where the chance of overestimating and underestimating are not likely to be equal. Right, we've come to the summary of this portion of this study. Right, the intent of a budget is to communicate organizational policy concerning the organization's goals and priorities. There are a number of common budgeting methods: top down, bottom up, and the program budget. Firms will fund projects whose returns cover direct but not full costs in order to achieve long-run strategic goals of the organization. If a project includes repetitive tasks with significant human input, the learning phenomenon should be taken into consideration where preparing cost estimates, right? So it is estimated lower labor costs as time increases. Okay, so the learning curve is the base is based on observation that the amount of time required to produce one unit decreases a constant percentage every time the output doubles. Other major factors, in addition to learning, that should be considered when making project estimates are inflation, differential changes in the cost factors, waste and spoilage, personnel replacement, costs and contingencies for unexpected difficulties. Okay, now we have come to the end of the lecture. And yeah, now, you have any question? So basically what we have today is a lecture. I have shared the videos as well as lecture notes for this week lesson. And only today we will have a live session. For tomorrow and day after tomorrow, there's no class. And please make sure everybody you key in your attendance in the Google Classroom. Okay, I have came up with attendance for you to fill in for the 3 days. Okay, it doesn't make sense now, but the reason why I still ask for your attendance because I just want to know and to track the uh, the attendance of students when later I mark your assignments and reports, because I want it to be tallied with your attendance and your submission. Okay, so please fill in your attendance for both 3 days for me to check on your existence in my class. Right, do you have any question, students?
Doctor, I have one question.
Okay, yes, please.
You say we have to take into account inflation into the project cost.
Yes.
So I wonder what happens if let's say we estimated the inflation to be lower than the actual project. So who bears the cost then? I mean, the if we do,
Usually,
yeah.
then you have to, you um usually there are ways of doing it. Sometimes you have to cut on the resources. You have to cut down on the human powers. Probably, I don't know how you find find ways for you to able to cut the um meet their target. Sometimes, yeah, people become their scapegoat.
Okay, okay,
But
okay.
in a situation, I've got a student from this manufacturing company, Daiboji. What they do, they produce plastic wrappers for Nestle products, for Maggie,
Oh yeah, twisties.
So
Yeah.
Twisties, yeah. We were talking about inflation, how inflation affects the budget for a project, isn't it? But my student so happened to be the HR manager. We were talking about how the company making a little bit, probably a lot of profit, but during the time when the oil and gas price dropped, because they use a lot of natural resources from oil and gas as their main commodity to produce these plastic products. So when the price drop, because of the deflation, they can cut costs and actually get a better um, operational cost because of the value of oil and gas has dropped during that time. So, well, it depends on your luck, isn't it? Sometimes inflation, sometimes deflation. Yeah, and usually people will be affected when we want to cut costs. It's usually like that, isn't it? It's unfair. But I would say human has become the scapegoat to help the company to stay alive. Right. Any more question? Okay. About the postgrad group. Okay. Do you have any problem? Because I cannot have 8 people in a group. It would be unfair. So I remain the first 6 people in the postgrad group and the remainder to be in the second group.
Maybe there's more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there are more students in my class because why? The name list given to me were not static. It keeps increasing day by day. And then I can't use it as a reference point. And then, that's what I need to fix. When there are more students coming, I need them to be in a second group or third group. So I cannot have too many people in a group because this module, I mean, project management is 100% coursework. So it is unfair if we have a workload for 5 people, now have 8 people or 10 people. So it'll be a very low project management course. Okay, so please understand my dilemma. Okay, it's not that because I hate you, I don't like you. No, I don't have that sentiment. It's just that I want the load for this coursework is evenly distributed. Okay, please understand. Right, any more question? If you have any problem, please WhatsApp me. I'll be very happy to help you out.
Doktor,
Yes, saya.
assignment 1 yang Doktor Azwani bagi tu sama ke? Maksudnya kalau minta Doktor terangkan betul-betul boleh ke Doktor?
Dr. Azwani. Okay, let me.
Assignment 1 tu.
Assignment 1. Okay. Right. Okay, I will try my best. Okay, I think because I know I know quite a bit about the assignment 1 too. Kejap ya, let me help you. Let me go into that class. Okay. I will share the screen with you. Okay, this is what she gave you. Assignment 1. So you are the project manager and technical team member of XYZ company. This is the same as your project, isn't it? So you need to propose one project to the construction company as your potential client, which is to design ICT system or aircon system or green energy system at your new company. As a project manager and technical team, you are required to produce critical risk analysis assignment using the template. Okay. So in this assignment, you have a template that you need to follow, yeah? First, you have an introduction. So whatever you have in your project, you can put back here. And SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is, strength, weaknesses, opportunity and threat analysis. Okay, risk analysis. You have risk management process, where you have risk management planning, risk identification, qualitative risk analysis, quantitative risk analysis, risk response planning, and risk monitoring and control. So these, or whatever we have in the management process, is in the lecture note. Not sure which notes. Resource allocation. Monitoring system. Project control. Let me see what she's given you. Okay, there's no notes on risk analysis. Okay, no problem. I can ask her to add on.
Ada doktor, Dr. Hazani ada bagi example. Cuma yang untuk 1.0 introduction tu,
Okay.
dia kan
Ini.
ada bagi, ni dia punya example. Tapi
Okay.
yang project assignment tadi, dia kan kata you need to propose satu project to construction company as your potential client, which is to design ICT system yang ada 3 tu. Okay, maksudnya dekat situ kita pilih salah satu team saja, betul tak?
Yes.
Okay, untuk introduction, background dia pasal contoh air conditioning, atau kita fokus air conditioning punya background dengan literature, ataupun kita perlu create macam company punya company, maksud saya macam introduction company yang akan kita buat tu ke, ataupun serta organisasi semua tu ke, atau macam mana doktor?
First, you nak buat pasal apa? You nak buat
Contoh
pasal
saya ambil air conditioning.
aircon. And then introduction you pasal aircon lah. What is the threat then? Okay?
Dia
Right.
maksudnya bukanlah pasal aircon tu maksudnya fokus pada history aircon lah, bukan macam kita create satu organisasi untuk company baru.
No.
Oh.
Very brief introduction.
Okay, faham. Okay, thank you doktor.
Okay. No, we are assessing you not because of the company aircon. We want to know whether you know how to manage risk. Okay?
Okay doktor,
How you
thank you.
How you identify your risk, okay? You do qualitative analysis on your risk, for example, okay? How you proceed with your risk register. Okay, this is the probability impact. Do you understand what is probability impact, and how you use the probability impact to create this risk statement for you to find the impact, okay? Right? And this is the quantitative analysis using decision tree, okay? Sensitivity analysis and response planning. So this is the portion that I take out for my project planning. Okay, when you have problem here. Okay, how you want to, for example, network security risk, okay? And use this as your work breakdown structure. How you stage by stage increase, reduce the risk for your from in this for example 5G or 4G situation. Okay. Any more question?
Doctor, I have one question.
Yes.
Hello. Doctor, module 1 conducted by Dr. Muzaffar, right? So
Yes.
for module 1, Dr. Muzaffar also give us assignment 1. Do we
That,
need this?
that is
So basically there's
that is
assignment 1 or what?
Dr. Muzaffar is project.
Yeah.
Me and Dr.
For module 1,
Hazwani
Dr.
assign.
Muzaffar also give us one assignment. Same topic but
Yeah.
different I mean that different type of content.
Yes.
Same topic, still aircon, green system.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
so
Same
basically,
topic, but now it is a project. It is much more general.
yeah, something like that. Apa got
Yeah.
introduction, risk assessment, something like that.
Yeah. So you can find that some of the things are overlapping. You can reuse that, put that in your project. Understand?
So we
We
still need to do Dr. Muzaffar assignment.
Yeah, you still need to do it. You got marks for it. Doctor,
Okay.
okay, let me share you teaching plan. Okay, I think he forgot to share with you the teaching plan. The teaching plan. Okay, Azwani also has that here. Okay, basically they are the same thing for PPSW, MPSW and PPSW class. The teaching plan is that we have one assignment, risk analysis. Okay, this is by Dr. Tani. Project proposal. This is given to you by Dr. Muzaffar. And assignment 2 and 3, I combine it together, given by me. They are all interrelated. They are overlapping. I just want you to make use of the overlappingness, okay, such that the project proposal makes sense, the risk analysis makes sense, the budgeting, costing, and monitoring makes sense because they are related. Okay? It can be repetitive. We accept that. We intentionally do that for the ease of your, to make it easier for you to do this assignment. Okay? And yeah, that's it actually.
So
Okay,
basically
any
from
question?
Okay, Doctor.
Faham eh?
yeah. So from Dr. Muzaffar is group project, and then from Dr. Wani assignment 1, and from you, Dr. Haida, is assignment 2 and 3, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Everything needs to be submitted. If you don't submit, I cannot give you marks. I cannot help you.
Yep. Understood.
Okay.
Please, Doctor, about the size of the company, when I want to calculate the cost and the budget, you didn't choose if the company is a small, medium, big company. So what we have to do?
For the ease of the, for the course, I don't need you to be too, don't make it too big. Okay, Honey, I thought Honey is a girl. I'm surprised he's a man.
Man,
Sorry, I've been
from
quite
from
soft on you.
Palestine, Gaza. Yeah.
Okay. Because Honey in Malaysia is usually a girl's
They
name.
told me that.
Okay, so
No
well,
problem.
it's all depend. My requirement, I just want you to follow the template I show you. So it's up to you to choose your perspective or you want to small company, medium company, or big company.
Thank you. Oh, good.
Okay, but because of the time constraint, don't stress yourself.
Inshallah.
Just do as I require. Don't make it too too ambitious. Okay?
Inshallah. Thank you.
Doctor,
Yes.
I can't find this project one. Has it been uploaded?
Project one. I think it should be in the drive.
Oh,
Wait, let me check. In
thanks.
your group, I think Dr. Muzaffar has shared the in a drive. Or yeah, I think he has shared it with you the WhatsApp group. Okay, let me resend it again. Maybe you join in later.
Thanks, Doctor.
Okay, it's there. Thank you, Nur Shuhada. Yeah, this is the PDF file that Dr. Muzaffar shared with you. Okay, Mr. Ng?
Okay, Doctor. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions? So you can WhatsApp me if you have any more questions. Okay, I'll be happy to answer you. All right. So if there's no more question, I think that's all for today. Don't forget to key in your attendance. Very important. Okay. And thank you very much. And all the best in completing your assignments and project.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, take care and have a pleasant day.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you.
Selamat mengundi
Doktor.
orang Melaka. Okay, take care. Bye.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
Doctor.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.